Waitangi Day is a national celebration of the signing of New Zealand's founding document, a treaty between British colonists and the tangata whenua, the people of the land of Aotearoa, in 1840. To celebrate, we've got the top 5 random te tiriri or Waitangi facts. The history of the national public holiday is a bit complicated. Commemoration services officially started in 1947 with the New Zealand Navy, and in 1948 Māori cultural performances were added. In 1957 the Labour Party campaigned to make the day a national holiday, but rescinded on this when they won, stating the country couldn't afford another public day off. It wasn't until 1974 though that the Labour Party was able to create a national holiday, calling it New Zealand Day. A change of government in 1975 brought a change in name, with Robert Muldoon, who disliked the name New Zealand Day, changing it back to Waitangi Day and reinstating Northland's Anniversary Day at the same time. The physical treaty itself has had an interesting and surprising life. After the initial signing in 1840, copies were sent around New Zealand to collect more signatories from various tribes. The copies sent to the South Island were affected by wet weather, but after the collection of 500 more signatures, William Hobson, who drafted the treaty, considered it ratified. The documents were then put in an iron box and stored in Government House in Auckland, which was destroyed by fire in 1841, with the treaty narrowly surviving. In 1865, the Native Affairs Office reopened the documents to copy them. They were then fastened together and deposited in a safe in the Colonial Secretary's office until 1877. In 1908, they were again reopened and found to have been nibbled at by rodents and water damaged, so restoration work began in 1913 by the Dominion Museum. When war broke out against Japan, the documents were taken to Palmerston North for safekeeping, but were too big for storage, so during the war they were kept in a suitcase in the back corridor of a public trust office. Between 1977 and 1980, the documents were again restored before being left at the Reserve Bank. In 1990, a climate-controlled constitution room was created to house the documents at the National Archives, which was moved in 2012 to the National Library of New Zealand. Since 1971, Waitangi Day and protests have been linked hand in hand. Many protesters feel the treaty was an unfair land grab, while others use it to try and raise awareness of inequality and issues for Māori. Political commentators like Paul Holmes and Bob Jones have called for it to be canned. Politicians like Peter Dunn called for it to be renamed, and Winston Peters called for all treaty references to be removed from New Zealand laws. At Waitangi itself, protesters have thrown wet t-shirts at Queen Elizabeth II, mud at Don Brash, hurled insults at various prime ministers, and most recently a dildo at MP Stephen Joyce, who was representing the government in 2016, which made world news. Every New Zealander has grown up with images of the signing taught in school, all resplendent and regal, but the reality is no one actually knows how it looked. William Hobson had presented the treaty to tribal elders who were present on February the 5th, but expected them to take a few days to decide. But at sunrise on the 6th of February, he was woken up as the tribes were ready to sign. According to one report, he felt it was so important that he refused to even get dressed, just to wear his official hat of office and his nightgown and sign the document on the deck of Treaty House on behalf of the British Empire. Waitangi Day as a national celebration is constantly evolving. It took 100 years before it started to gain steam, and another 35 years before it became a national holiday. The services themselves started with a simple Navy flag raising and have grown into days of celebration, talks and speeches that cross cultures. Various Prime Ministers have relished the chance to attend, and others have gotten so frustrated they've chosen not to, and this year is no different. With new Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern being the first female Prime Minister to be given speaking rights at the Upper Marae, and also choosing to use the traditional PM's Waitangi breakfast to introduce a barbecue breakfast open to the public. Waitangi Day is a day dipped in controversy, but it also changes and grows, much like New Zealand itself.